How's it going, YouTube? You got Pat Mack here, coach of the Sacramento Sand Slash, and we are here because we joined a new league. We are playing in the Rocket Draft League. It's a Wi-Fi singles league, playing over LAN. And so we're here looking at the draft now. So we're going to take a look at all the picks we got. You can see on the side there's 10 picks that we have. So you get a sense for what kind of Pokemon we'll have and be able to pick up during those picks. Now, we had the 11th pick overall, and one thing that I was really kind of interested in doing, and a Pokemon that I've heard and haven't had a chance to use yet that is just super versatile, and if you remember the first video that we did where we did our draft analysis, if you recall, we love picking up versatility. So with the first pick, we were pick 11, but our first pick of the Rocket Draft League, we decided to pick up Mew. Now, Mew is like the king of versatility. This mon does everything. When you need rocks, Mew's got it. You need momentum, Mew's got it. You need setup, Mew's got it. You need to be able to hit any type for super effective damage, Mew's got that too. Basically, Mew does everything. This Pokemon is super, super sweet. So, really excited to get this mon. And so comes back around to us, and we're thinking like, what pairs well with Mew? And the answer to that is kind of everything. So another mon that I've seen used before, and I thought would be really interesting to try out, is Hydreigon. So we decided to go with Hydreigon here. Now, Hydreigon has also a lot of options, but it's really more, in my opinion, kind of a heavy hitter, right? It's not really going to be a defensive piece to a team, but it's going to put on a lot of offensive pressure. Setup options could be physical, could be special, could be mixed. Also has U-turn, so we got a little bit of a momentum game going with flip turn on Mew and U-turn on Hydreigon, which is pretty sweet. And so I was looking at this and kind of deciding where do I want to go from here. And one option that kind of came up was thinking about, well, we have the beginning of a psychic dark fighting core, right? We could kind of put that together. And there were a lot of good fighting types that I was taking a look at, and ultimately I decided to actually pick up Nidoqueen. So we didn't end up picking a fighting type right here. And part of the reason for that was that there were just so many good ones. And I figured I could sit and wait a little while before I picked one of those up. So decided to grab Nidoqueen here. Absolutely love this pick because I just noticed that like the combination of Nidoqueen and Hydreigon pair really nicely together. They check a lot of the other's weaknesses. That's really it, right? They just check each other's weaknesses so well. There was the option of going with like Nidoking to break a little bit harder, or Nidoqueen here. One thing that I've heard is that Nidoqueen is a little better if you want to have like toxic spikes, which is the one thing that Nidoqueen brings for us. And then Nidoking is going to be a harder breaker. My choice was actually that Nidoqueen was slightly less in points, so it gave me a little bit more options overall. And I kind of think that like the difference between Nidoking and Nidoqueen doesn't feel that great to me. There is a difference in terms of like some of their stats, but I think for the most part they're kind of the same Pokemon. And so being able to pick Nidoqueen up for a slightly less point value gave us more room to work with overall. So really excited to grab Nidoqueen and to use this Pokemon as well. And so again, we're kind of in this situation where like, where do we go from here? And we got a lot of different options. So I just decided to go with one of my absolute favorite Pokemon, the first Pokemon that I ever ended up using, right? Back in the day, playing on Pokemon Red and Blue. Blastoise was my starter, right? Go with the Squirtle, and absolute favorite mon. So really excited to pick up Blastoise. It's got so much setup, right? It's got so many options here too. So really excited to grab this one. I've seen a lot of people run Shell Smash Blastoise, so I really wanted to try that out. And I thought it would be really cool to get a chance to play around with that. And one thing, I don't know if I've talked about this in previous videos, but I haven't played very much Draft League yet. And one thing that I don't think that I'm very good at yet is playing setup Pokemon. And so that's something that I want to improve on, and Blastoise has that, right? It's got like the White Herb Shell Smash combo is amazing. It just is, right? And so I figure like if I can get a little bit better about playing around that kind of stuff and using Shell Smash, and that's being a good setup move, I could kind of diversify and improve as a Pokemon player. So really excited to grab this one. Another thing that Blastoise gives us is a Rapid Spinner, right? So now we have a way to, another way, right? We already had some ways to get rid of hazards, but Blastoise would be a really solid one so that we don't lose hazards if we want to set it up on the other side. So really, really sweet Pokemon. One thing that's also kind of nice about it does have quite a bit of bulk to it too. So we can use it as a defensive piece. It doesn't have to be this setup offensive threat. It can also be this defensive piece with Flip Turn and Rapid Spin to take care of hazards. So I think it's a really cool Pokemon. I'm really excited to use it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now at this point, we're actually kind of in a really cool spot, and I had a lot of different Pokemon that I was thinking about picking up here, and several of them were being taken, which was really unfortunate. I don't recall all of them off the top of my head, but basically the league was picking up their steel types this round. They'd either grabbed them already or they were taking all the good ones. And so I ended up going in this round and grabbing a steel type of my own, and I grabbed Aggron. Like everybody was picking up steel types, and they were going off the shelves. Like, who was next, right? And so I ended up dipping a little bit lower in points to grab Aggron here. So it gives us another rocker to go along with Mew. So we got a little bit of options there. It doesn't have to be Mew running Stealth Rock every week. We can switch that up. And I had a Pokemon in mind that I wanted to pair with Aggron that I was going to pick up a little bit later, where they kind of checked each other's weaknesses really well too. So I thought that would be a really cool pickup to grab along with this. Aggron's got like crazy good defensive stats, so very physically defensive Pokemon for us. Sturdy lets it essentially get a free Focus Sash, which is really nice. So I think that we got a pretty solid defensive piece to our team here. Aggron doesn't have that great of speed, so I don't expect to be using it offensively very much. I'm expecting it to be more of a defensive piece to our team, and to just round out some of those typings for us, and kind of support our team in that way. Really good Pokemon. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to use, and get a feel for how it goes. One thing that is really nice, and I noticed about this team really, is that we have some good momentum pieces going on here with Mew, Hydreigon, and Blastoise. And those Pokemon don't always have a spot available to them to run recovery. So it would be really nice for us to pick up a Pokemon, which is what we do next, that can give us some support. So we go for Licky Licky next. Now, Licky Licky is just a really good support Pokemon. It's our Cleric, right? It's going to have Heal, it's going to have Wish, Heal Bell, Knockoff, so it's a really good support kind of Pokemon. It could carry Protect as well, it could be Toxic, can't be taunted, which is really nice with Oblivious, so if someone comes in, they're like, yeah, it's really nice to be able to not have to worry about that side of things, which I think is really good for us. It doesn't have momentum itself, so we could lose a little bit of the flow to our battle, but I think this is going to be a really good piece for us here. It does give us that Cleric ability, right, which is going to be really good for our team, because we just want to make sure that our kind of switching Mons and don't get too chipped down by hazards. Whereas like we have some really good hazard options ourselves, so if we can set hazards on their side and keep this Cleric support with Licky Licky, then our team can kind of go through the flow of the battle and stay healthy, which I think is going to be really good for us. Okay. Now the next thing we're looking at is like, what kind of options do we have? Because we have some ground weaknesses right now, and it would be really nice for us to pick up something that can handle that a little bit more. And at the same time, we were looking for Well, actually, we had a couple snipes this round as well, unfortunately. So I had just kind of a different game plan, and we ended up going with this one instead. So we ended up picking up our grass and fairy type this round with Shoutout. I'm pretty excited to use this one. I think it's got some really cool options. It's got a little bit like healing stuff going on with like Leech Seed and Strength Sap. I think Strength Sap is a really cool move. Like probably, I don't even know where I'd rank it, but I think Strength Sap is really cool. Jellicent is one of my favorite Pokemon for that reason. I think Strength Sap is a really cool ability on it. So anyway, Shoutout has that move as well. So I think that's going to be really cool. It also gives us a fairy type, so we can kind of round out a Steel Dragon Fairy core with Shoutout, Aggron, and Hydreigon. And it's kind of cool here because we have a very physically defensive wall in Aggron. Shoutout is a little more specially defensive, and then we have a big damage threat in Hydreigon. So we kind of have a little bit of diversity in that core, which I think is going to be really cool for us. So really cool mon here. Pretty excited to use this and try this dude out and play some games with him. So next up, we're looking for kind of completing some more of our cores here. So we end up going for Charizard. And Charizard I picked up because I wanted to have some more ground resistances. We didn't have too many. We had like Shoutout and we had Levitate on Hydreigon. I thought it would be worthwhile to pick up some more abilities, some more resistances and immunities to that. I've tended to notice that my draft plans tend to have a lot of ground weaknesses, and that's something that I didn't want to have as much in this draft. So that's something I decided to do here. So Charizard I think is going to be really cool for us from that regard. We don't have any weather going on with our team. I guess spoilers for the next couple of picks, but I thought it'd be worthwhile to get some lower tier Pokemon here that we could still use to get ability. Charizard is nice because it does give us a little bit of a faster threat. If you're taking a look at kind of the speeds of our team during this time, we have Mew at 100. And I think Hydreigon is probably the next highest after that. So our team wasn't particularly quick. We wanted to get something that's a little bit higher. So Charizard helps us out there with having a speed of 100. Its stats are pretty good across the board too. So we could run as an offensive or defensive Pokemon, which I think is going to be good for us. Okay. And at this point, we're looking at like... Well, I had some other picks in mind, and this was the story of some snipes in this draft, unfortunately. So we had a couple of options here, and we actually, at this point, had the most amount of points left in the draft. I think we had 12 at this point, which was everyone else was picking up their low tier stuff, and we had kind of been waiting because I'd planned on picking up some higher tier stuff to fill out that Psychic, Dark, and Fighting core. That would be pretty cool. So Buzzwole was actually the Pokemon I had in mind, and it got taken during this round. Very unfortunate. I would have been super excited to use that Pokemon. It'd be really cool. So instead, we ended up going for Passimian. Now Passimian is really cool because it gives us more of that momentum game that we had going on, right? Like at the beginning of this, we talked about Mew, Hydreigon, Blastoise, right? Being able to play this momentum game, and Passimian adds on to that, right? So now we have U-Turn to go along with that as well. One thing I think really cool about Passimian as well is that it kind of fills in that speed tier gap between our Hydreigon and some of our other threats a little bit lower. I think Nidoqueen and Blastoise were kind of sitting in that range below Hydreigon. So Passimian comes in and kind of fills in that speed tier in between those, which I think is going to be really good for us. So it has some ability, like I said, to be able to get in and out. It also discourages teams from bringing webs against us, which I think is going to be really nice, right? Having Defiant, you set up webs, we come in, we get the Defiance boost, and now we're hitting really hard. So I think Passimian is going to be a pretty sweet option. It does have some setup things going on with it too, like it does have like Bulk Up and Drain Punch, and that could be a really cool set to run and try out. I think that'd be really fun. And I've used Pessimian in doubles in the past, and so it's actually got a pretty solid move pool as well. So it gives us some really solid options in coverage. So really looking forward to use this Pokemon. And the last Pokemon that we pick up is something that like could easily have gone in the first couple of rounds, and that Pokemon is Zeraora. I'm super excited to use this thing. This is gonna be so cool. I was trying to figure out like how I wanted to round out this draft, and I was looking and I thought that we needed more speed, which Zeraora is more speed. Because if you look again, like our highest speed at the time was Mew and Charizard at 100. Zeraora really stretches that. There's a huge gap between Mew and Zeraora. I think it's like 40 something points of speed, so big difference there. Is that going to be a problem? Who knows? It may be that that we have some issues with Pokemon that are in between that being able to run more bulk, and we won't be able to get some of those kills that we'd like to be able to. And at the same time, it may totally be worth this for us to be able to stretch that speed tier to really get a really fast threat. Zeraora is sweet. It's got the options of going physical. It's got the option of going special with some solid coverage, I think, on it too. So really cool Pokemon. Really excited to try this thing out. I think I've mentioned that I'm very new to Draft League, and every single one of these Pokemon is new to me in playing in draft. So I think this is gonna be a lot of fun in order for us to kind of play around and get a feel for how we can really make these Pokemon flow and synergize together. One thing that I really like about it is that we've got a lot of momentum, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play around with. So I think that we have some really, really cool options with our whole squad of 10 here to be able to play out and have a good time in this season. So that's about the end of our draft analysis here. Really looking forward to playing in this league. Check out a video that we're going to be having. Our week 1 is up against, I believe it is the Nashville Nido Kings. So really excited to play up against them. Should be a really good battle, so keep an eye out on the channel. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Hit the bell, right? Get all those notifications from our channel so you can see when we get new videos up. Either way, thanks for sticking around. Hope you have a fantastic time, and we will see you for our next video.